What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my third. This is my third battle for the NPL tournament, and I'm going up here against Coffin. And you guys might be wondering why there's not a team builder for this video. Actually, I'm gonna get a little bit candid here. I was pretty frustrated after my loss to Will in my second battle. Yeah. I'm remembering these very poorly because that's the way my memory works. But I was a little frustrated after that battle, and when I'm in that state, I like to do something to take my mind off. So I built this team, and it's not really a Mona Lisa team because I kind of built it in that state. So it's not really my best piece of work, but I am gonna show it to you guys anyway. But first, let me just recap my opponent's team. He's got a Gothitelle, a Weavile, Suicune, Rotom Heat, Registeel, and Shaman. And let me switch over to my team here and get that right angle. I'm going to start off with a Mega Venusaur, and he has got Synthesis, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb. Leech Seed kind of covers whatever Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb don't. Things like Registeel and things like that. Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb do a pretty good job of hitting his team, and the fat things that like to take it don't really appreciate being worn down. Seeds also gives me a better opportunity to switch in things that are able to pressure those mons, like Heatran, like Crocodile on Registeel. So I've got speed on this thing for... I'm trying to outspeed where I think Pokemon like Rotom and Suicune might be, potentially even Shaman. I've got enough speed to outpace a no-speed Shaman or a Shaman with just a little bit of speed, and for a Suicune creeping the Shaman, so a little bit convoluted, but you guys are used to these kind of set shenanigans with me. Next up here, I've got Heatran, and it is going to be a Choice Scarf with rocks, interestingly enough. I put rocks on the Tran, and that is because I wanted to be able to reset them, since Crocodile doesn't necessarily have longevity. If he does want to remove them, I don't have hazard control. So if he does defog them after Crocodile is gone, I want to have the potential to reset them. Plus, Overheat and Flash Cannon do a really good job hitting his team. And what those two don't hit, Toxic does hit. Of course, I've got Overheat because Scarf Heatran's not usually staying in for multiple turns in a row. It likes to hit and run, and Overheat enables it to do that and get the most power out of it. So next up, I've got Crocodile and Comfey. These two are going to be very similar. With Eel too, I think. Yeah, these ones are going to be very similar to what I brought against Eddie, was it? I believe it was Eddie, yeah. And that's because there's a lot of similarities in their teams. They both have mons like Rotom Heat and Suicune, so I had a lot of similar ways to deal with these kind of threats. I believe either of these guys... Either this guy or my next opponent had Kiram. I think it's my next opponent, so off on a little unneeded tangent here. But a lot of these sets are similar because there are a lot of the same threats I wanted to be able to deal with in similar ways. And also because I was building in not my best building state, so I may have cut some corners, and you know what, I am embarrassed by that to some extent, that I did build in that state, cut some corners. I know I can build better than this team, but it's not exactly the worst thing ever either. Next up here, I've got a Girafarig, and this was part of the getting me to feel better after that game strategy. I saw there was maybe a little bit of potential against this team to get Giraffe going if he brought the right mons. Hidden Power Fighting is mostly for hitting Weavile, also hits Registeel a little bit better than Psyshock does, and I've just got to dual dance to get this thing going. And with Psychium Z, the dream was to kind of get a Girafarig sweep. You know what? More important than any competition is sweeping with Girafarig. Take notes, kids. This is what it's all about. And if you ever think you have a chance to sweep a Giraffe Rig, then throw caution to the wind. So I'm going to switch back to the battle scene here and get the replay scene going. There we go. And for this match, he's going to lead off with Suicune, and I wanted to lead off with Crocodile, and a large part of that was I always pay respect to lead Gothitelle, and that's something that it's something because my idea here is that Gothitelle, if it gets the lead matchup right, say I was to lead off with something like Venusaur, that's more consequential than if he led something like Suicune, for example, and I get the Crocodile lead wrong. He's more able to punish me with Gothitelle. And maybe Suicune's not the best example, because Suicune's always a threat that can punish you in the right circumstances. But if you were to lead off with Shaman, for example, that'd be less consequential than if he got the Goth lead right. And of course, the other most threatening lead he had is Rotom Heat, and Crocodile also covers that. So that's my process in leading off with it here. Now, of course, I don't want to leave Crocodile in on Suicune, that freaking monster, especially not with a bulky Crook. So I'm going to switch out to my Mega Venusaur here. He's going to go right for a Scald. Fortunately, does not burn me. And here, my thought process is that I feel like his plan has been, if he's bringing Gothitelle, I think his plan is to get it in on Venusaur as soon as he can. So I'm actually just going to make my double here in the Crocodile, predicting the Gothitelle to come in, which it does, and that's pretty good for me. So here I just want to immediately click Pursuit, and that's why I've got Pursuit on this bulky Crocodile for this Pokemon in particular. And thinking he wants to get the hell out of here, I'm just going to click Pursuit and try to trap the Trapper, but he instead decides to stay in and click Energy Ball. So here I think he's just going to stay in, and I click my Knockoff, trying to take the thing out. But he Z-moves, so this Gothitelle is about to 1v1 my Crocodile. This Crocodile can no longer show its face around its Crocodile friends after that one. And I decide that Giraffe Rig might be a Pokemon that could kind of force Gothitelle out and maybe put some offensive pressure on. So I'm going to go right for the Agility here. No, right for the Nasty Plot here, right? Oh, okay. My Giraffe Rig has 225 speed here, and my thought process is that his Rotom would almost definitely have more speed than that. I was pretty confident he would, and I was thinking that he would Volt Switch, and bring out something that was going to be something like Sneeze or Weavile, for example. I thought that was a very high possibility for him to be faster, Volt, and go in a Weavile. So I actually just went to click Agility here instead of my Shattered Psyche or Psyshock. But I'm actually going to be faster, and I'm immediately kicking myself for that. I did not think that my Giraffe Rig was going to be faster than the Rotom. So here he's going to bring in his Registeel, and based on the damage, it's going to look specially defensive. That's going to bounce right off as he sets up his Curse. So this thing becoming a threat, I'm actually going to switch out into Heatran, thinking that's not the turn he would try to Earthquake. I was thinking there's a high chance he might just try to set up more. So Heatran in here, I'm going to click Overheat. He's going to go into his Rotom Heat, and he's going to be very bulky, which is, I guess, explaining why he wasn't very quick. So my Overheat is going to do not that much damage, but it is important to work towards chipping this Pokemon down, and then perhaps weaken too if I want to establish a win condition with my Heatran. So the Rotom is going to come in here. I'm going to switch out into my Electros, which is the best mon to take hits from this thing. His Volt Switch is going to do 0, and interestingly enough, he's going to bring in a Weavile here, and I didn't know what the hell was going on here, but I was not complaining, and I just went right for my Drain Punch. So he's going to go for Knockoff. It does a lot, but Eel is definitely munching that, and Drain Punch is going to get me back up to 52%. Nice to take down that threatening Weavile. He's now going to bring in Shaman, And I'm actually just going to hard switch out into my Girafarig because it is Sap Sipper, and I wasn't sure if Shaman would have anything to touch this at all. So he's going to get behind a Substitute, and I'm just going to go right for Psyshock and break his sub. Very interesting that my Girafarig is able to outspeed it. It's definitely not a fast Shaman at all. I'm going to get that boost in my attack, and I'm going to just go for a nasty plot here, thinking he was definitely forced out. He goes in a Suicune here, and I'm just going to go right for my Shattered Psyche, and in my head I'm thinking, please be faster, please be faster, please be faster, please be faster. But he was going to be faster with his Suicune, and he is going to be able to survive in the Shattered Psyche. But when was the last time you've seen a Girafarig do 71% to a Suicune? I'm going to call that a moral victory. He's going to go for a Scald, and it's actually able to take me out. I decided to go into Venusaur here and click Seeds because it covered both him switching or staying in. And he's going to go for a Scald here. I'm going to go for my Seeds, get him seeded. Based on what I've seen so far, I'm just going to guess that he's some kind of potentially a Roar variant, maybe even with the helmet or something like that. That's just kind of where my head's at right now, thinking about that Suicune set. So he is going to bring in Gothitelle, but I have quite a bit of speed on my Venusaur, and based on the damage it took from Crook, I was pretty sure I was going to be faster than it, which allowed me to click Giga Drain and take the thing out. So here he's going to go into Registeel. I'm just going to click Leech Seeds, that way I can kind of play around it more safely and more cautiously. He doesn't go for a Sleep Talk, which makes me think he might not have it here as I go into my Heatran. And he will show the Sleep Talk here, which scared me a little bit because I had it in the back of my mind that its last move might be Earthquake, and I was very cautious about that. Although that kind of went away a little bit when I thought about it more and having Sleep Talk. I did think eventually that its last move would be Iron Head, but before I saw the Sleep Talk, I thought it could have been Iron Head and Earthquake instead of Iron Head and Sleep Talk. But he does Sleep Talk there, and he's shown 3 of his moves. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and click my Overheat on this Pokemon because I don't want to click Rocks or Toxic and he show the Earthquake. So he goes back into the Rotom, which is not the biggest surprise in the world here. I'm going to go into my Eel, which is not that important anymore. A lot of what it would help me with is gone. So he's going to Volt out and bring in his Shaman. I'm actually just going to U-turn here. I'm pretty sure he's going to sub, and I'd like to just break it. And he does sub. I am able to U-turn out. And I'm going to bring in my Heatran again here. And here, I believe I went for another Overheat. Am I mistaken? I did just go for another Overheat because it was encouraging to me that Rotom's health was getting low, and I didn't want to risk Shaman being Earth Power since it hasn't shown all of its moves, and that was definitely a possibility facing Heatran. So here the Rotom comes in. I'm going to go into my Venusaur as it can wall the thing, but unfortunately he's going to bust out the Pain Split, which means this ending is actually going to get a little bit stally, I have to tell you guys. But you know what? It gets a little bit interesting too, as it does get stally, so stay tuned. Ideally, stay tuned. I'm going to go for Sludge Bomb here. It would be very nice to poison this Pokemon, but also it helps just to wear it down. He's going to go into Registeel, and I believe I'm just going to go for my Seeds on this Mon, and I will. He's going to go for Sleep Talk, but he burned Sleep Turns here. A few interesting plays, but you know, who am I to judge? I'm going to Synthesis up, and he's going to go for Curse. I'm still thinking in the back of my mind that the last move has to be Iron Head. So I'm not too scared of the thing, but just to be cautious, I want to go into my Eel. Because Eel A, I can just kind of sit there. Or let me pause here, because there's quite a few reasons for me going Eel. One, I can kind of sit there, and whether it's Iron Head or Earthquake, I'm not losing much health with the Seeds. 2, I am still paranoid about Earthquake, I should say, even though I am pretty sure it's going to be Ironhead. I'm paranoid about Earthquake because Heatran is definitely my win condition here, at least where I'm playing towards. So he is going to curse up here. Also, I went into Eel because I thought I would be able to get a slow U-turn off, as my Eel has 122 speed, and a Registeel that is uninvested has 136 speed. So that's my whole process there. I'm gonna click Volt Switch and actually show to be faster. Oh, because I'm an idiot, because he cursed. You know what? I almost want to re-record that, but I feel like you guys are gonna enjoy laughing at me on there, so I think I'm gonna leave that in. Yeah, I'm going to be faster because he's going to be cursed with reduced speed, doy. Oh boy, but I'm gonna Volt out into my Heatran thinking he would never click Earthquake on my Eel. And with my Tran in here, actually is this where I finally click Stealth Rock? I think this might be where I finally click Stealth Rock. You guys gonna nope, I clicked Overheat again. That's my mistake. So he's going to get pretty whittled down here, but I just went back into my Electros. I didn't want to risk any shenanigans with my Heatran. I'm playing very, very careful with that, and Eel didn't let it heal too much up. So he's going to Overheat and take down the Eel. Here, I just want to go actually into my Comfey and see if I can try to set something up here. He's going to go into his Registeel as I click Calm Mind, but I am the fan favorite Rocky Helmet taunt set, so I am not scared of this Pokemon. He does finally show his last move to be Iron Head, which means Heatran completely walls this thing, and I'm just going to Calm Mind up pretty freely as he gets whittled down by my Rocky Helmet. The Steel getting very, very low here. I'm just going to Synthesis up, of course, to get my health as he goes for another Iron Head. Him clicking Iron Head as I heal up is just going to whittle him down, so I'm very comfortable clicking my Taunt here. As he actually goes into Rotom Heat, but that thing's Taunt, so it's not like it can fire off a Toxic on me. I'm just good to click Synthesis here. Get my health back as he is going to Volt Switch out, and he's going to bring in his Shaman. Although Shaman, Seed Flare does have that 40% chance to drop Special Defense, so that Pokemon can still be annoying to me. I'm going to taunt him because I don't want him to get Leech Seeds up on me as he fails to go for Substitute. And I'm going to fire off some Draining Kisses here and see if I can get the thing whittled down before my Special Defense gets dropped. I am able to get one off there without the drop. I go for another Draining Kiss, and he goes for his Seed Flare. And unfortunately for me, that one is going to drop me. So I am actually just going to make the play out here into my Heatran, thinking that he'd probably just click Seed Flare again there. I could have stayed in a little bit more, but if he got one more Special Defense drop and he had a few turns to get it, it would have eventually forced me out. So I thought I would make the switch before he knew for sure that I had to switch out, which is why I made the play into Heatran here. And he's going to go out and do his Rotom Heat as I do go for my Stealth Rocks here because I've not seen Rotom's last move. And if it's not Defog, that is going to set me up to win the game. But it is Defog, so I feel like this is a point where I just want to speed this up for you guys. I'm going to throw off Sludge Bomb, and I'm actually going to be able to poison the Rotom, which is pretty nice. I'm going to Synthesis and continue to click Sludge Bomb. I'm actually surprised that he's staying in and letting me throw off these attacks on it. I clicked Giga Drain a few times thinking he would want to switch out, but he continues to not, and I'm actually able to take out the Rotom with my Venusaur, which means that Heatran now wins. So that's pretty nice for me. He brings in the Shaman, and I knew there was a very good chance that I was going to be able to outspeed the thing. Nope, based on Giraffe, I knew for sure actually. So he's now going to get in range of my Giga Drain, and it's now the World versus Registeel. but I know that Pokemon is not able to touch my Heatran, so I'm gonna go right out into my Heatran here. No, I'm gonna click Seeds, then go right out into my Heatran. Right, just being overly cautious to make sure that the win condition with Comfey was there. If I do decide to miss every single overheat somehow, I'm gonna go into my Heatran. He's gonna go for his Sleep Talk there, just get rest, and I'm gonna go right for my overheat. Registeel saps, or gets itself sapped. Registeel is a beast. Don't sleep on this Pokemon because it is actually taking that overheat like an absolute boss, but it's firing off Iron Head like an absolute secretary or absolute intern, whatever you like. And I'm gonna take it out with overheat, and that is going to give me a 3-0 victory. It wasn't exactly the prettiest, but we did get it done, and that is what matters. I'm going to move on to 2-1 plus 4 at this point. Still a lot of pressure on me to win my last 2 games, but we're definitely going to give it our all. I'm not going to let myself get tilted and do this kind of build again, because this is not my finest work, although it paid off a little bit in the end. So that's going to be it for this video. I do want to thank you guys for watching and apologize for there not being a team builder and this being a little bit sloppy. But again, thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.